I hate Apple products. I just got a new iPhone X Plus. I think that's what it is. One of the ones without a button. Ever since the new ones without the buttons came out, if it was an option, I'd always get one of the old ones with a button, because learning a new UI is really annoying. And guess what? When I get a new phone, learning a UI is annoying. But whatever. If I'm going to have to learn a UI, I might as well switch to like a Samsung or something, because they aren't like literal scams like iPhones are. Except I would have done that if my old phone wasn't insured and this new one was free. This next one I'm getting is definitely not going to be an iPhone though, because I hate them. And here are my reasons why. Number one, they take away things that are convenient for no reason from their phones. Like the home button, for instance. There are so many things about the home button that were innovative and made it an easy user experience that it's now harder because it's not there. Or less convenient, not necessarily harder. And it's also less simple and obvious. Secondly, their phones are way less durable. My first phone that I got was an iPhone 6 Plus. I dropped that thing in the toilet like 6 times. Don't ask me how. I dropped that thing in the bath like 11 times because I loved to watch YouTube while I was in the bath whenever I was younger. And I dropped that thing on the ground God knows how many times. Never once had it cracked. And it had been in some pretty brutal falls. Like, I dropped it down the stairs and it did the whole like thing. Like, never once had it cracked. No screen problems, nothing. Never did it slow down in processing or whatever. It was awesome. And I would still probably have that phone, and it'd probably still be fine if if it didn't fall out of my pocket while I was on a train and I never saw it again. And I had that phone from whenever I was like 13 up until like I was 15, I'm pretty sure. And never had any problems with it. I'm 17 now. Since then, I've gone through 3 phones. 3. And none of them were iPhone 6s. They were all after the iPhone 6. And that's because iPhones nowadays, every iPhone after the iPhone 6, I'm convinced, is made to break. Because if your phone can't last past a year, then it's a shitty phone. Apple is making shitty phones on purpose. And here's how I know. This new phone is made out of glass on both the front and the back of the phone. There is absolutely zero purpose to that other than to make it more fragile. If it makes it look, it may make it look a little more sleek, but let me ask you this. What would you prefer? A really fragile, sleek-looking phone, or one that's actually useful? I don't know what I'd prefer, but I don't have the option of a more useful phone unless I want to switch. And even the Samsung phones are doing this nowadays. Like most of the other options, they're all just made to break. So not only that, but the camera pokes out when you get the phone. So if you lay it flat on a table, it does that thing where, like, if a chair has one longer leg, it goes like doot 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 if you rock it side to side. They're basically forcing you to pay for accessories like a case and whatnot. And even then, they still crack super often. Like, actually, now that I think about it, I've actually had 4 phones since my iPhone 6. I forgot about one of them. I had a rose gold one, I had a black one, and I had a red one, and now this is my new one. That's 4 phones within the span of 2 years. That's how crappy these phones are. Like, the fact that they last so little amount of time, and not only that, but after you get them, they always start to freeze and lag. Like, after you've had them for a few months, they're just crappy. My iPhone 6 never did that, and never broke. And it's just annoying, because there's no good options nowadays. Like, I've searched for, like, they don't make iPhone 6s anymore. This was literally the only option to replace my old one, which sucks, because after the iPhone 6, they don't have a button anymore. But at least they have, like, the little circle thing that vibrates when you press on it. It does the same thing as the button. It's just not a button anymore, which the only reason I can think of that they changed that was to make it more waterproof, which actually makes sense, but honestly, the iPhone didn't need to be more waterproof because my iPhone 6 was really waterproof. I dropped it so many times in the water and never anything bad with it. But that's beside the point. It's just like, Apple phones are hella stupid. Probably Samsung too. I haven't had any Samsung phones in order to, like, speak on that, but Apple phones suck. It's a stupid, greedy corporation. Not only that, but they also make it hard to switch over to other phones on purpose. Like, if I switched over to another phone, I wouldn't be able to transfer any of my photos or anything unless I transferred my photos from my Apple phone onto my computer, and then I downloaded it onto my Samsung phone. And that, first of all, I have thousands of photos and videos that would take forever. So it's super inconvenient. Plus, if you grew up with Apple Music like I have, like I know everyone's going to make fun of me, like, oh, you use Apple Music, not Spotify, it's better. Then you can't really transfer over any of your music either. Unless you, like, guess you downloaded an APK of Apple Music, but I don't know how well those work. If you don't know what an APK is, it's basically like an Android app that's like third party you can download. I've used them before. Well, at least I tried to use them. Whenever Oculus asked me to update my drivers, I tried to use an APK of a previous version on BlueStacks. Not going to get into the details on that if you don't know what it is, but long story short, it still forces you to update. It doesn't work. But I don't know if it'd be the same thing with Apple Music or not. But if it was the same, if it wasn't the same, and you couldn't use an APK to get all your music over, then that's super inconvenient. So there's that. You can't get any of your apps over either, because it's like a whole different thing. Like, every other phone runs on Android except Apple. And you know, the user interface, like, my dad had an old Samsung phone that he let me use to try out, like, to be like, oh, try out the Android phone, see if you like the interface. The next one you get maybe Android phones since you don't like the Apple ones. And I tried it out. The interface is literally the same as Apple. There's only like one difference. You scroll up once to get to like your main apps, like utility apps, and then you scroll down to get all your other apps that you downloaded later. That's literally the only difference. Other than that, the interface is no different. And you know what Samsung did that's better? They don't have a button for the one that I have, but they have a little button icon at the bottom. It works the exact same as the button. It does the same thing. Now, like, and I really don't like having the whole like swipe up thing at the bottom. That's annoying to me. I used to be able to swipe up to look at like the icons, like the Wi-Fi and cellular data, the airplane mode thing, and like any music that you're playing at the time. Now you have to do that from like the top right. That's, I mean, I know I'll get used to it eventually, and it's more just like a nitpick than anything, but it's still annoying. Like, I would be fine with these changes if there was a reason for it, but there's never a reason for it. There's zero reason for this change because it doesn't add anything. It's like the only thing I can maybe think of is like extending the screen, but like the video I'm filming right now, for instance, it's not even using the full screen. Like the edge of the screen's right here, right? The edge of the screen on my phone is like that. So it's not even using the whole thing. So what's the point of extending the screen if most videos don't even go that far in their format? Like, who's that for? Not only that, but like the screen even extends past, because like the volume and camera thing is like that. It kind of sticks out a little bit from the top. The parts on the side under and it's above it, they're both screen also. Like, what is that for? It's like they're just putting screen where screen's not needed just so the screen can get broken more easily. Like, what? Dude, the putting glass on the back, like, I know I'm kind of just reiterating over what I said earlier, but the glass on the back is a huge pet peeve for me because it's so pointless, and it's just, your phone is literally made to drop. Your phone is literally made to break the moment you drop it, because the glass on the back is so pointless. They used to have metal on the back, and it actually was good. Like, I remember when I was a kid, when I was like 10, maybe a little bit younger, we had this family iPad my mom would use to play like learning games, and like over time she let us get other stuff like Plants vs. Zombies or like this fun samurai game or whatever. But dude, that thing had metal around the edge, and it was, okay, first of all, the screen didn't go over the edge. The screen was covered by the edge, so it actually was protected for a reason. And then, like, also, we dropped that thing so many times, the metal on the edge was literally dented inward, and the screen still wasn't broken. So they know how to make stuff that doesn't break, but they refuse to do it because the more your stuff breaks, the more you buy. So stupid. Anyway, that's the end of my Apple products rant.